I look like a bumblebee.
Bumblebee!
Be my little baby bumblebee. Be a bumblebee.
Nah.
Let me spend those happy hours rolling with you amongst the flowers. Where we get when no one else can see. Gotta love, come, gotta love.
I need to find something.
I need my mom.
I did not write that I read these three. I need to. You can continue. I need to find something.
Alright. Hoist the mainsail. I have 5 books here, but I'm only going to talk about 4. Because we're doing we're doing this together. Me and you and me, the both of us together. We are going to do a mid-month wrap-up. Otherwise, the end of this month will be a very long video.
Very long.
Very long. Definitely. Okay. So, I will start with Chantal's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. I finished Marilla, which has red on the cover. And I got this for my birthday last year, and I'm finally getting to it. I can't believe it took me this long. Can't believe it took me this long because I loved it. It's like a 3.5 stars. It's not quite 4-star for me. And a lot of it just has to do with the ending. It would have been a 4-star if she had done the ending a little bit better. It just ended. Like, okay, Marilla and John Blythe can't be together. You know, Anne of Green Gables series, you know that is coming. You know what the ending is going to be.
Marilla and John Blythe?
They never got married. Remember?
Yeah. I thought I said they did get married, and I was like, wait, what?
They did not get married.
They did not get married.
And so you know what's coming. And so it was like the author said, okay, now you can see that it's not going to work out. The end. It really ended badly.
I'm glad I stopped reading this. I was just sneaking ahead.
So, but for the rest of the book, I really enjoyed it. It was a kind of a slow beginning. And there is a lot of political conversations in this book. John Blythe is very into politicalness, and even her dad, oh gosh, I can't remember his name. What is her dad's name? Hugh, yeah. Her dad, Hugh, and Marilla, they have conversations, and Hugh Cuthbert says at one point that young men are driven to make a change in the world, and they do this by their political stance and things. And I thought that that's poorly paraphrased or rephrased or shared, but I thought that was a very good conversation that they had in this book, just because of there is a lot of Tory versus Reformed, the slaves that were escaping to Canada during this time, because this takes place just before the Civil War and like during, and then a little bit after, and then like 30 years after. So this covers a huge span. And what I really liked what this author did, the title is Marilla of Green Gables, and then she separated it into 3 parts. So you have Marilla of Green Gables, Marilla of Avonlea, and Marilla's House of Dreams. And I really liked how she did that. So all in all, I really did like it. It's definitely one that I want to reread again, because the first time you're reading it through the eyes of like L.M. Montgomery, especially if you love Anne as much as I do, then you are kind of like, does this hold up to that? And as much as I kept telling myself, no, this is like its own story, you need to not try to compare, you just do. So now that I have finished it, I kind of want to read it again, and I have a feeling I will like it much more the second time through and a third time through. I just have this sinking feeling. So this is my February Read Your Shelves Challenge with red on the cover, 3.5 stars, and I think it could have, I think the more I read it, the more I'm going to like it more. That ending, it's so disappointing. I wanted an ending with Marilla and Matthew sitting in front of the fire, talking about how they needed to adopt a boy. I just wanted it to end like that so much. And it didn't. It doesn't even end close to that timeline. So that was my disappointment. But Emma's got a bigger disappointment, so I would say that I've got a good start here.
For Chantal's one, I read Hummingbird Heart, and it has red on the cover. And I thought the cover was really pretty, and so I decided to pick it up from a library sale. And I started reading it, and the first 2 pages, I think, had a lot of cuss words in it. And I'm starting to read, and I'm glad I didn't continue reading this because it has more and more cuss words in it that I don't feel like should be in here. Anyway, this follows the story of a girl named Dylan who's 16, who's never met her father, and her mother has many boyfriends. And
This wasn't your book.
yeah, the mother got pregnant at 16, never told her daughter to get pregnant at 16, and she's kind of like a gonna get drunk with these other guys kind of mom. So I just stepped away from that book, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't finish it either, so...
I think she got like 2 chapters in and was like, nope,
I
Mom.
didn't even get to chapter number 2. I was like,
Mom,
heck
I'm
no.
done. I don't want it. And
So.
I thought that was a very mature decision made. But then it got from there to worse.
Yeah, so...
Because she has another DNF.
I have, and these were both in the same day, and I was really disappointed. This book is called Heartless, and this is not for any, like, the Historathon or anything. I just picked this up from the library thinking it would be good. She runs away because there is a Prince Athelbald.
Where's my coffee?
Sounds like, it's all the way over there. Sounds like we're in Dragon and the Raven right here. Anyway, so she runs away. She is, I think, captured by dragons. I only got to, like, page 23 or 24. And there was this really creepy guy. And he's like, ooh, I should give her flowers. So he starts growing flowers out of his fingertips. And I was like, if I'm only on page 23 and there's...
She's already grossed out.
Oh, my word. I wanted to throw this book. Like, who grows flowers out of their fingers just to give flowers to this one girl? You could go to the field right there that has plenty of flowers and go give them to her. But, yeah, by the looks of it, I knew this was probably just going to get weirder, so I decided I wasn't going to read that.
One of the things I ask my kids when they're like, I don't know, because I don't want them just to give up. One of the things I ask them, with all the books that you want to read, do you want to make time for this? And that kind of helps make that decision.
Yeah.
Like this one, I asked you that, and you're like, yes, I want to continue.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did. It was a really good book.
Winter's Bullet.
Winter's Bullet. This book follows the story of
We have a glare, so.
Oh, yeah.
You're fine. Keep talking.
This follows the story of a boy named Tycho Winter, who his only way to kind of survive the harsh winter of the Nazis.
When did you take my Radium Girls?
That's a school book. I'm going to read.
Excuse me.
Sorry. And so the only way he can really survive is by helping a guy named...
Somebody.
They have some really weird... Kruger or Kruger.
Oh, German names.
I hate German names. Even though I like everything about the channel.
I would say Kruger.
Yeah. Anyway. Is by helping Kruger find jewels
Like
and
Fuel.
diamonds in abandoned or looted homes, or Dutch homes, I should say. And so there's this diamond called the Red Queen, and it's really valuable to him, to Kruger, I mean, and...
Think of the Fuhrer. The Fuhrer was Hitler, right? The
Yeah.
Fuhrer. So, Kruger.
Yeah.
Like
I don't
like
wanna
that.
say that. Anyway, so he helps Kruger. I don't like saying names like that. Anyway, he helps this one dude find this Red Queen, and along with that, he finds this one girl named Willa, and Willa's mother used to have the Red Queen. He doesn't tell Kruger, that's his name, that's a whatever. Kruger about, he doesn't tell about the girl, or he knows that Kruger will most likely kill her. And so when Kruger does find out about this girl named Willa, and that she knows where, she might know where the Red Queen is because her mother had it, he keeps her alive, but ends up like capturing her and keeping her locked up until Tygo can find that Red Queen. Anyway, there was this one part that I thought was inappropriate and shouldn't be in here, is when his sister and this one guy are doing something inappropriate. And I felt...
Intimacy. She walked into an intimate scene.
Yeah. I didn't like it at all. Anyway.
Okay, let me describe the scene. So he comes into the room, the guy is in his suspenders without a shirt, and he's talking to him, and then his sister comes out.
Yeah. And
so you know, but you're not dragged through it.
Yeah. So I felt like that was just a scene that was just thrown in there, just to be thrown in there. But
did it add to the story knowing that the sister was intimate with this other guy? Like, once you knew that, you're like, oh, is that why he is doing this and this? Okay.
It was just thrown in there for some stupid reason. Anyway, so her sister, the one guy, his sister's boyfriend, and Willa, they all four get together to try to find the Red Queen, but they are also trying to stop the war. And so they all just pitch in, do that. And then when Kruger is about ready to get on a plane to Argentina before Hitler...
Don't spoil the book.
Before...
That's good. They're all out to get the thing. Then there was one scene that you were like, ooh, I wish I was a little gruesome.
Freaked it out. There is this one part where a girl named Ursula wants to kill him. That's what he thinks. But she doesn't really want to kill him. She just has a gun, and she threatens him. So he takes his skates that he has and like digs it into her... I don't even want to say it. He digs it into her throat, and the author described, like, blood being gushed out and everything, and I was like, I want to throw this book across the room. It was disgusting, and I watched Enola Holmes, and...
got to see another disgusting part. Between the two, she was like, I'm done with violence!
Please. Anyway.
Alright, well, I'll talk about a couple, because it looks like you just have one left.
Yeah.
So the first finished read I had for this month was a Romanov Fantasy by Frances Welsh. This is pretty much the story of Anna Anderson, who made everybody believe she was the lost princess Anastasia. This is a nonfiction, so it worked out well for my trying to read one nonfiction every month this year. And it was, as a biography, as a nonfiction, it read well. The trouble that I had with this book is, first of all, I should not have read this one first. I have like 4 nonfictions of like the Romanov family. I found them all at a thrift store, so somebody else was researching the Romanovs. But this should have been read last, because this is after all of that has happened, and it's mainly just about how Anna Anderson was able to convince a nation. But here's the problem. I don't know how she was able to convince a nation, because the author was adamant Anna Anderson was not the lost princess Anastasia. But throughout the whole book, she shows why she was, why she could have been. How does this person know so much that supposedly nobody else knew? And if that's the case, who else was feeding this information to her? That is never clear, because even when the person that could have done it dies out of old age, or, you know, it's not like a conspiracy. Even when he dies, she still has this information, but the older she gets, the more crazy she gets. And so even like those times of lucidness where she knows something after misinformation for so long, you're still like, if this is something only this person and this person would know, how did she know that? Or if it was completely made up, how was she able to manipulate the other person? So that was kind of a very big frustration that I had with this book. It only had, maybe out of, how long was this book? Like 330 pages. Out of this whole book, there's maybe like 60, 70 pages of like the Romanovs before they were all killed. And so, again, I just was really frustrated that if she was not Anna Anderson, I don't know how she was able to convince the world that she was. I understand there was divisions, but even like some of the divisions of people that were adamant she wasn't would then come back and be like, oh, I think she is. No, she's not. And then there was just this whole matter of the money. And so then you were like, okay, so yeah, they'll say she's not because they don't want her to get the money, but there's just no information here about why. So that kind of was really frustrating. Again, the author was just adamant that she was not it. I just don't know. Even to the extent of the whole DNA test in here, there was still questions. There was still questions of this whole DNA thing. Whether or not it was accurate and other things. So it was just frustrating. So I think I gave it 3 stars because it read really well. I liked it. On Goodreads, 3 stars means you liked it. I liked it. I just was kind of frustrated by it. So I think this would have been better if I had read it last after having all of this other information about the Romanovs. I asked my husband if he wanted to read it. He doesn't. And so I'm just going to pass this on. And then I actually started with the other biography that I have on the Romanovs, and it starts like way back in the early 1800s, and so you have like a whole, what is the word? But you have a lot more information. So I went to that, and I think you only have one more. So yeah. I finished The Yellow Bird, which is the group read for the Historathon. She will not be reading it. That was one of her things, was like, can you read it first and let me read it? And it is not for young eyes. And I will do the wrap up of this book in the next video. And then I have 2 more. This one is Anathema by Colleen Coble. It has a different name now. So that's good to know. And then Anathema is, the prompt for this one is a place I have visited. And what's so neat about this book is that it actually takes place in our little town. Like, they talk about the Swiss days that are well known in our town. And so that was really neat. It talks about the clock tower that's in our town. So that was like things that I could relate to. It even talks about McDonald's. This town only has like 1 McDonald's. And so I could visualize like where they're going. The only thing I couldn't visualize was this apartment that she was talking about. And I think I know what it could be. I don't even know if the author had to have visited our town at some point. Or I don't know. But even like the apartments, I couldn't figure out where that was. But for the rest of the book, first of all, I can't stand obsessive male evilness characters in books. I genuinely can't. If they are obsessing about the smell of somebody's hair, I just can't stand that. It doesn't. I think part of it is just the kind of person I am. I'm not exactly somebody that, I don't exactly look like something that somebody would fawn over, so it's just that unrelatable. Even somebody that's beautiful and I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. It's like looking at an art. I don't obsess about art. And so I have a really hard time thinking, I don't know, just it grosses me out so much. And so how this book goes is that Hannah walks into her parents brutally murdered, and on the wall is a peace sign and the words anathema. And anathema just means like you're banished, whatever. And basically out of fear and just wanting to get away from her Amish life, she ends up marrying the Englisher that she's been secretly meeting, who happens to be in the police force. And they run off together, and then it turns out he's a very abusive, obsessive weirdo. And at that point I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those. I am not into the whole psycho. I call it psycho thriller, and I don't think it's psycho. I think it's socio thriller. I'm not into those at all. So if you are, this might be your book. It's clean. It's Christian. For Christian, I thought it was done really well in the sense of like thriller and suspense. But some of the things that really bothered me here is that Hannah, after she escapes her husband, and this is all in the back, so I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. After she escapes her husband and believes that he is the one that has killed her parents, she kind of goes back to her roots in the sense of living simply, but hasn't gone back to being Amish. And so she was separated, not divorced, because she doesn't believe that could be done. But the one detective that irritated her at her parents' like investigation, there's some kind of attraction here, and at one point she's upset that she's attracted to him and kissed him, whereas I'm like, you are still a married woman. Why doesn't that bother you that you have kissed another man while you still consider yourself a married woman? That kind of bugged me. All in all, again, I think it was like a 3-star read. Just again, I'm not into the socio, and that is the huge component of this book. I really enjoyed the aspects of seeing Indiana and our town and like some of the surrounding things, because now I can put it together in my head. But all in all, it was okay. Again, good Christian, clean read. Unless you don't like plunging necklines, like leering husbands, things like that, then it probably isn't for you. So I think each of us have one more book. Which one's yours?
The one I have is called Grace, Gold, and Glory. The story about Gabrielle Douglas. And she is a gymnast who almost stopped being a gymnast due to... what was it? Rare blood disorder. That's what it was. So she almost stopped because of that, and because her mother was really poor, but she just kept pushing herself through, and she became one of the most well-known gymnasts around the world practically. So I read that one. It's pretty, just mainly just about her life and how she struggled and succeeded through many different things. But this was for the Historathon, a book set in a place you have visited, and a book by a diverse author. So I put that both in there. And the funny thing is, she broke her 2 front teeth and had 2 fake teeth replaced. And I have the exact same thing. And it's pretty similar. She ran into a bus, but I fell off a bunk bed. But it was pretty funny that she had both of her teeth knocked out and had to get 2 fake teeth over her leftover front 2 teeth. So I thought that was pretty cool. That
you're like, we related. I understand you.
Yeah. So, and she is Christian, so that...
She gets Christian?
No, she is Christian.
Oh, I thought you said she gets Christian. I'm like, how do you get Christian?
She's Christian, so she it's kind of like how she walks through life, asking God why all these bad things keep happening and all that. So I thought it was pretty good.
Alright, and then the other book I finished, this was like a chunker. This was 400 pages.
Can I read it now?
Yes. 400 pages. The historical subgenre, so this is historical romance. This would also work for if I don't get Jojo Moyes done. This is also a war that's not World War II, because this is during the Civil War. The thing that was kind of difficult about this book, I'm trying to be careful at how I don't want to discourage her from reading it, because I do think that she will like this. But this is a 400-page book that takes place in 2 weeks, a month. Like, that is a lot of pages to cover a certain amount of time. It also would fit the prompt of happens during winter. So this happens just at Christmas. This takes place during a battlefield but this is actually Battle of Franklin. Okay. Battle of Franklin. This book was actually written after the author had read that this had happened. And so she kind of created this whole book based off of these two characters that met during the Battle of Franklin and fell in love. And she kind of wrote this story. This book has a lot of Civil War information in it. It was delivered in a way that was easily digestible. But it's a lot. And again, it kind of just takes place over a shorter period of time. So there's just so much packed in. There's just so much information packed in for this short amount of time. Why I think my daughter is really going to like it is I have, she wants to be somewhere in the medical field. I don't know where she is now. I say this every time, but I genuinely don't know what she wants to do now. As a doctor, nurse, midwife. I don't know. Yeah, okay, she doesn't even know now. This is about a governess who basically has to step up and be like a nurse and have to retain each individual soldier's needs. And so she has to deal with that. This, I think, was another 3.5 star. Again, just a lot of information that you have to process. And again, it's another one that I think in a few years I would like to reread and get, now that I've got all of that information in and kind of what's going on, I think I would get more from the story. So after Emma reads this, one of you has requested to read this, so please check back with me in like a month or two. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Between this and middle grade March. Check back with us in April and ask if we're ready to mail this, because I will forget. Just being honest here. And you know who you are, so go ahead and do that. So that's the last one I read. You're going to talk about something. I need to go check on the kids.
The next book I have is called Legacy. I don't know what it is, but I like to say Legacy. Legacy of Honor. And this is a book my mom read that she thought I would like. It is a romance book that I am not obsessed with romance, but I've really been enjoying romance. The one book I'm kind of referring to is The Piper's Pursuit by Melanie Dickerson. They like each other, but they end up having a lot of arguments, I can say. They used to go to school together, and then I'm currently reading this, and nothing can really replace Melanie Dickerson, but this book is so good. This might be really close to winning over Melanie Dickerson, and this is only book 1, and my mom says it gets way better. I'm only on chapter 9. I'm on page 117, and my mom says it gets better. So this might be a book I think is better than Melanie Dickerson. But I do like how Melanie Dickerson has, the adventures with the two main characters, the boy and the girl, and how they have adventures and all that. Anyway, I'm currently reading this. I hope to finish it either today or tomorrow. And I really like this one, so we'll see if this wins over Melanie Dickerson or not. I don't know. It's probably, going to be an equal. Melanie Dickerson and this one are going to be, 50-50. But I can't wait to finish this one and see how this one turns out. By the looks of it, I'm going to be keeping this one. So I can't wait to get the other ones. But
hello!
This one was written in 2020, so it might be a little bit until the next
I
one
did a
comes out.
review on this one a few months ago on my blog.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you liked that.
Yeah. I haven't finished it quite yet, but I hope to finish it either today or tomorrow. It is so good. It might... I don't know if it's going to, like, replace Melanie Dickerson or not. It
Ooh,
might be like
replace Melanie Dickerson.
not like replace it, but like...
Be up there with her.
Because Melanie Dickerson is, like, my favorite author.
Ever.
In, like, the entire life. And in my entire life. And all of the books I read are all of my favorite. They all have 5 stars. And I've reread them more than once, I think.
Christian fiction.
Yeah. I like Christian fiction with romance in it. I like romance, so we'll see.
Keep the romance to the books.
Okay.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the first 2 weeks of the month. I do not have a DNF, but I do have a stack, and we will talk about this yellow bird one next time. So I have a stack of 4. I'm currently finishing a Jamie Jo Wright and a classic.
Is it good?
It's Jamie Jo Wright, of course it's good.
Can I read it?
I'm not done with it yet.
Oh.
So yeah, moving on. We'll see what the next 2 weeks brings because we got to wrap this up for February. How many more books do you need to read for February?
Like 4 more books.
You did.
Or 5.
You did that.
But some of these are pretty big, and the Snow Queen, I'm not going to read this entire Snow Queen one. Or...
You're just reading one of
I'm
the
just
books.
reading the Snow Queen story. I'm not reading this entire book.
I think that's it, and I think I have still... I think I calculated if I can read 3 books a week, then I could finish up all the books, and I'm not counting on that, to be honest. Reading our bookshelves, we have 3 that can depart in peace, and
Oh, that one's not.
3 books to go back to the library, and 1 to keep,
And
1 to read and pass on. Just again, and the other thing is I bought this on Kindle thinking it was the second one, so I have this one on Kindle now too. And then I will definitely keep. I might loan it to a friend, but I expect it back, and we'll talk about this one next time. All right, and until next time, have another cup of coffee
or tea.
and read another chapter.
Bye.